back to the channel. So today is wash day. So Pepper is getting a full makeover from top to bottom. It is needed. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. It just needs to happen. He is at that stage. He's a full winter coat. He's very fluffy and he just needs a good clean. So I'm going to bring you through the steps that I use to keep him clean. Now he is grey, so more than likely put him back out into the paddock or into the stable and he will be brown tomorrow, but we'll make the most of it today. So I'm going to go through everything with you step by step. I'm just about to leave the house and go to the yard, so I will bring you on my journey with me. But before I leave, for those of you that are YouTube followers and you don't follow my Instagram, this will be your first chance to meet Pepper. So like I said in my last video, Pepper is a 6-year-old Irish sport horse. He is grey at the minute. He's dapple grey at the minute. Slowly but surely he is going lighter. But he is a Connemara cross and you'll see that in him as well. But he is a lovely temperament, so he doesn't mind getting washed to that. And he was brought into work 2019 and then he was left off for the winter as a 4-year-old and I brought him in last March as a 5-year-old, and then due to coronavirus unfortunately he was left off till June, but he is back in work since then and is loving life. So let's see how today goes. Just as a little point of information guys, as the yard is it's not just for myself, it's not my own private yard. I wish I had one, I don't. So when I am around the yard and stuff like that, I will be wearing a mask as to stay with government and our yard guidelines. But when I'm in the wash bay, I will be away from everybody. So filming, I will be able to take it off so that you hear me. But when I'm around Pepper and stuff in public places, I will be wearing a mask, just so you have the heads up and you understand why I am wearing it. We are in the wash bay and ready to go. You excited, Pep? No, he's not excited. Okay, so I'm going to start with his mane. So Pepper's mane when I got him was really, really thin. So what I've started to do is to cut it. Now I don't go in and do like a straight cut. So what you do is brush it all out and then take a section and you go at an angle. So you don't get that straight kind of, as we call it, schoolgirl fringe. So you just go in little tiny snippets. Pepper, please don't be nosy. Pepper, as you'll see, has a serious personality and has to be in everybody's business. So you're just going up some little bits like that, just at your scissors is like 45-degree angle, 60-degree angle. I'm just going in little snippets like that the whole way along. And then when you get to the end, it's just a case of going up in little parts and just snipping little tiny bits away to make it a little bit even. I do apologise for the concentration face, it does take a bit of concentration. Alright, Pat. You good boy. The only thing though is with Archie, I would never cut his mane because his mane is incredibly thick. So if you cut it, it just makes it thicker. So it's just easier to do it with a thin mane. But like that, you don't want to go straight because then it's going to be really obvious. So just cut with scissors and then constantly brushing. Good boy. And as you can see, Pepper is not very bothered by the sounds of the scissors. I pulled his mane once and he didn't really like it. Now I suppose he still had to get used to it, but it's just easier to kind of cut it firm. But he's not too bothered by it. You're never bothered by too much, are you? The hardest part is when you get to here because his shoulder's in the way. So I always find this bit the hardest. And I can be a little bit of a perfectionist, so it can make things harder sometimes. I suppose everybody is though, in their own way. Good boy, let's go in there. boy. And depending on the horse, it can be so much quicker, it can be slower, or it can be quicker depending. At this stage with Pepper, he's just so used to it, he just doesn't care. So like I said, just going back around then and just making sure you fold a little bit, and then you can kind of go up straight and just trim the little tiny wispy bits off, just to make sure you get in a straight line. But like I said, you're never going to go like you see them in a hairdresser's and cut straight, because then you're going to get an awful, what I call a butchered straight line before. Now everyone likes the mane differently, that's another thing to bear in mind, that if you're ever working on a yard, like I like that kind of length mane on him, but on Archie, because he's eventing and he's competing quite regularly, like trying to plait that all the time would be hard work. So Archie's would always be a little bit shorter when it comes to competition season. Just saves an extra 10 or 15 minutes of plaiting every weekend. Any person's best friend. So before washing them, go in, you do it in circular motions against the way of the hair. So the horse's hair lies that way. You're going to go in that circular motion and just pull all, like you'll see the hair will just all gather up. But it's alright, but it's better to do it now before I start washing them, because then all the hair will be off, and like that at the end you just sweep it all up and it's done. But Pepper never got clipped this year because it was his first year in work, and I didn't want to make things too terrifying for him. So he has a very nice woolly coat. Little tail flick. You're a good boy, ain't you? And like you can see on the ground how much hair just flies off him. And like that. Because he has a rug on, his neck is always going. He's a rug on, but he's no neck on it, so his neck is always going to be dirty. Alright, hello. You're the best boy, ain't you? And like that, you do it on both sides. And once you're happy you've got most of the hair off, you just brush downwards. And the great thing about a rubber curly comb is the hair doesn't get stuck on it. So you can just bend the rubber and get it all off, like that. The same with belly. You just go like that. Pepper's not the biggest fan. Well, depends on his mood of getting his belly done. But I wouldn't go in circular motions on the belly as it's sensitive. I just brush backwards like that. You're a good boy, ain't you? And then we go around to the far side and do the same. is your go-to. It's the Gallop shampoo, stain removing shampoo, essential for owners of grey and light coloured horses. 100% agree. So what I've done is we have a water buoy, which is hot water and cold water. So I filled a bucket half up with hot water. I've got my brush net, but first we got a wet pepper. So I'm going to take the hose. I always start at their feet because that way they know it's there. So as you can see, Pepper doesn't mind the hose, but he's not the best with it. He's kind of like, oh, what's that, what's that? But he doesn't do anything else, okay? You just know he's a little boy. Ah. Hey, stop showing off, you're never like this. And then just do it. I never go too high because I don't want them to get water in their ears. So kind of go to about there, like that. Hold up the ear up, and then just soak them. Yeah, that's boy, ain't it? It's so good. And then go around the front side. Like that, things I do with Pepper, say going underneath his nose and things like that, that's because I know. Okay, so you always have to bear in mind what horse you do. If you have a horse that doesn't like seeing the water coming towards them, blocking it out there prevents as much of a reaction. Okay, you can still sense it obviously because you're putting water onto them, but you just kind of, just little tips and tricks. Now Pepper usually has a tip or a trick he has that when he gets fed up of being washed, he will step on the hose and then it stops the water. So just have to keep an eye on. What's going on? As you can see, he's not overly fussed by things. He looks at things, but he doesn't really ever react too much. So like that, and just react back, keeping a bit of distance between you and the horse. What's going on? Like I said, Pepper knows his tricks. Thank you. You're alright. Good boy. Good boy. I'm just talking to him and always reassuring them where you are, what you're doing, and that. So same thing. So pat and bump, let them know you're there, and pull the tail towards you. So always keeping that safe distance if they're not at risk. That tail is stinking. Good job, Pep. And the same the whole way down to their feet on both sides. Pepper tends to get the back of his legs quite dirty, so he knows how to choke them really well. Isn't that nice? Okay, so then what we're going to do is I usually put the shampoo, when I'm doing his body, goes running out a little bit, goes straight into the bucket. A little Okay, so now while that is on his tail, I'm going to do his feet. As you can see, hats on the head, just because I'm going down to feet level. Yeah, it's better to be safe than be sorry. So same thing. Fill your bucket up with a little bit of water. Now this time I'm not going to use the gallop. I'm only doing his hooves. Gallop stuff is brilliant. It can be a little bit on the pricey range, so I'd rather save my money and I actually use, I think it's from Aldi or Lidl, Green Juicy Apple Shampoo. It does the same. Baby shampoo is really, really good as well. But like that, student on a student budget doesn't get you very far. So quick shake, same thing, into the bucket. You can put a little bit more into this if you want, because like that, I think it's 80 cents a bottle. Give it a little stir around, give it a little pat on the shoulder, let them know you're there. Hello. And then like that, trying to keep the head away. Just scrub, scrub, scrub. Now, like that, he's going to be like, what are you doing to me? But you can get over himself now. Another famous Pepper trick, put your feet on top of each other and Neve can't get at them. Same thing in the back, even more cautious. Keep the head to one side, just scrubbing. And you can see all it is just being in the stable, but it's not even that, it's just a bit of everything, a bit of build up of dirt. It happens to them all. It's very easy. Just scrub off. And then you go around the far side and just do the exact same on the far side. While his tail is wet, I just grab the end of it, pull it straight down, and it's just a tiny, I only take a tiny bit off, and you just trim the end. So like that, Pepper doesn't, like when I wash Archie, you'll see how much of a tail Archie has, but Pepper has very, very little, so I trim it regularly, but I only take a little bit, just like that. If you cut your own hair a little bit more, it tends to go back a little bit thicker. It does the job. If you have a grey or anything for that matter, Archie has a white sock. Talcum powder, whatever, baby powder, whatever you want to call it, it's brilliant. Throw it on, whitens it up. Even if they have like cracked heels or anything in the back that's a little bit like that, maybe mud rash or something, dries it up really well. These two are also really good for him. The Car and Day and Martin Stain Master are really, really, really good. Like that, damp sponge, spray it on, rub it in, wash it off. This one is the Extreme. I've used this recently, it's really, really good. I think it is off Kramer. I could be wrong. I got it as a present off somebody, but it's the same thing. Spray it on, damp. No, you can't eat it. No, spray it on, wet sponge, rub it in, wipe it off, and they're gleaming and ready to go. So they're handy for like that, say his face, and spray it on a wet sponge and just rub it in. I know I'm scary, ain't I? You can't eat it. Like that personality. It's like a baby, he puts everything in his mouth, so you have to kind of watch him. Good boy. So now to brush out his tail. Never go near your tails without a detangler. Okay, so I have the I can never say it. I think it's Levo. Use 5 Leovet. There you go. That's sometimes you need a little bit of help saying things. Leovet 5-star detangler. It is amazing, and when I say amazing, I mean absolutely amazing. I got that in Equine Warehouse. When did we get that, Pepper? Back in September. It's done us to now, and it's like €11. Stop showing off. You never do this. Stand up, please. Good boy. So you just go in, you spray it on the tail, and brush it I'm going to leave it on for him for about 40-45 minutes while I go ride Archie, and then I'll take it off and then. So, as usual. And we are finished. This rug I love. It was part of the prize for winning the Wild Atlantic Way. I'm actually surprised it fits him. It fits him a lot better than it fits Archie, which I'm surprised at because it's a big rug, but Pepper's a little bit longer than Archie, so. Right, good boy. You're finished. All done. One thing you're not supposed to give a grey is a lick it, but hey ho, he's not going to show. Just cover me in our little makeover. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button.